the loser would have to cosplay if we lose that tipping comp. I, for one, know for a fact that I'll be coming first because I've got the OPL 8-ball by my side this year, Spawn.
I don't want to hear about it. So let's just move into Champion Select and make sure we're not talking about the silly contest anymore.
Well, we are into Champion Select for the first match of today, as well as the first match between Sin and Avant Garde.
Off camera, Pingers has just tried to tear down the studio by tripping over a TV and colliding with me, so that's all right. We'll just keep moving through.
Already a couple of bans have come out here, Spawn. As always on the red side, Camille's going to be banned out right away. Fiora is going to hit the bench as well as LeBlanc. It's already a target ban being thrown towards Series.
Yeah, you know, we've talked about this a lot, but it's good to get rid of the OPs first because you don't want to be trapped in leaving only one OP up. So you can see Avant has made that adaptation. I just want to shout out Avant because they had a really rough game last week, but on their new show, Avant Live, they bounced back reasonably well. I mean, they got the priority picks that they were looking for in Game 2. As I said, a meta misread meant that they weren't able to show up. But I do feel like this is a good foundation for a team. And, you know, grabbing a Legacy, grabbing a Chiefs early isn't necessarily a bad thing because it's about now how you bounce back, how you have a showing in the second week.
And we already heard from Jake earlier on. He's very confident going into this match, has a lot of respect for his opponents, especially towards Jews, as we heard from him earlier. But he thinks that his team can take this one down easy. The final bans have come through, though. Zyra and Rengar are going to hit the bench for Avant Garde. Elise is going to be banned out by Sin. That gives Flares the first pick of Kha'Zix. That should be heading into the jungle for Juice.
We've seen over this a couple of times. It's Flares.
Flares.
Flares. So let's get a OPL Twitter counter started, please. Let's see how many times Fish mispronounces the jungler's name. Important to note, over about 70-ish games, 48 more than anyone else, over 60%. Kha'Zix internationally in the major regions still holds a 72% win rate. That's massive over that amount of games. I mean, I think it's close to 48, somewhere around there. So, yeah, he is a big power pick right now, and I like the fact that they've got some faith in Jews.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of bans being thrown towards the Kha'Zix in the first week of the OPL. Haven't seen him slip through too much.
We've seen a couple of adaptations with the build as well. Expect a Q into a W evolve. Not necessarily taking the leap. Ever since we increased that range, it's good to be able to get the big slow on isolated targets and really dish out that damage.
We'll have to see what Juice decides to do with that pick. On the flip side, Avant Garde, they've looked to lock in Malzahar as well as Varus as their first two picks, heading into the bot lane for Blinky and Jake. Sin, they've responded with both Jhin as well as the Jace that should be heading into the top lane for Flares.
Yeah, but they didn't take a support, so now this means on the second rotation, expect supports to be the heavily focused bans for Avant Garde. Make sure that they have a great matchup for the Malzahar. I'm expecting Misfortune to go, as well as Taric, who we've seen internationally be a very good pick against the Mals.
Meanwhile, Series is going to be picking up Poppy heading into the top lane, so a lot of utility being picked up for Avant Garde in their first rotation.
And I like the fact that they've gone Poppy, because all of a sudden, Flares, who will most likely be picking up the Jace, is countered very heavily by just one item, the good old Ninja Tabby. They're able to be picked up, you know, taken into the top lane. It reduces so much of the damage that comes out. Really will make it easy for Series to at least survive, if not farm safely underneath his turret.
It does mean that Triple as well as Shelby's champions will be left to pick last here for Avant Garde. You can already see Sin banning out mid laners here. Syndra, the first one to hit the bench. Whereas Avant Garde, their first ban in the second rotation is going to be Kennen, followed by Misfortune.
Yeah, so I expected the Misfortune. Surprised about the Kennen. We've seen a lot of carry Kennen top lane with things like Wit's End, Hurricane, Blade of the Roaring King, running around in international. I think we call it the LPL build because it was seen by a lot of the LPL solo queue players over in Korea. However, the fact that they've got Jace already means that Avant know that Sin are happy to flex this into the mid lane. The fact that they're still willing to ban a top laner.
Which is interesting because we have seen a lot of LMS teams potentially looking to flex that Jace into the mid lane. We haven't seen it too much elsewhere internationally. But for now, they have locked in their mid lane of choice. Orianna has been picked up by Sin, so Jace will be heading into the top lane. On the flip side, Avant have locked in the Corki for Triple, and Lulu will be the final pick for Sin.
Yeah, and Lulu's also kind of seen as a counter pick towards Malzahar. The little glitter that comes off picks helps clean up those Voidlings nice and early. You know, of course, you have a plethora of CC in your kit to be able to knock him out of his ultimate, so not necessarily an unfamiliar lane with FBI and Rogue. However, the synergy between Jhin and Lulu has always been a weird one for me because Jhin doesn't really amplify attack speed, and Lulu historically has been seen with hyper carries being able to get that additional damage out.
We'll have to see how that one's going to work out. I do have double shields coming out from Sin, both the Orianna as well as the Lulu can buff up their teammates. But Avant Garde, they've got other things on their mind here, as Ivan is going to be returning to the Rift again, Spawn.
Certainly is. Shelby's going to be picking that one. Of course, Ivan and I go way back. Great friends. Don't know what you're talking about. See whether he plays the annoying skin. But it gives a little bit extra protection here. And we've already said this. We like Ivan with mage supports because it means the support items are still picked up. It's going to be by the jungler, and it means that they're not going to be missing the ridiculously overpowered redemption. You know, even things like Athene's going to be helping Blinky and Triple be buffed up in that mid game.
We already heard Rusty on the desk talking about Triple as well as Shelby being a dynamic duo. We'll have to see if that's going to continue here for Avant, especially since they've left their picks for last year, opting to make sure Series, Blinky and Jakey get their champions of choice. Sid, on the other hand, we're going to see Wizard picking up Orianna. Have to see how he's going to do in the river with that one.
And that's an interesting one for me, because Orianna historically has had to win laning phase. If Orianna can't win laning phase, she's generally fallen out of the meta. The reason behind that is she's like a 2 or 3 item mid laner. At the moment, the fact that we nerfed Rylai's really did mess up her 2-item power spike. She's not as defensively geared anymore, which means she can still be picked off. So looking forward to seeing how Wizard picks that one up. Obviously, they're confident in the young man. However, he did fall behind about 110 CS in game 1, that one that they lost against Abyss with Frey popping off.
He certainly did, but he does have a huge champion pool. We've already seen him pick up quite a few champions heading into that mid lane. He's against Triple, who's picked up Corki, which is one of Wizard's pocket picks as well.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I'm surprised that he didn't take the Zilean into it. He must not like the matchup, because we saw his Zilean game. It was actually very good. And when you're willing to run a carry top laner, Zilean can be that person that adds the utility that you would normally get out of your top lane. He has a great slow, has the revive that comes back at full health late game. So, you know, it's a stylistic choice. Still quite a supportive mage at the moment. However, it is a little bit different from what we're used to seeing from Wizard. All
right, we're about to get into that first match today, but for now, before we get onto Summoner's Rift, let's check in with Hingers, who's been one of the coaches.
All right, I'm here with Sin's coach, and right now I want to ask about this 10-ban system. You've had 1 week on it in competitive. This is the second week. Did you learn much from last week coming into this game?
I think we've been scrimming with this system for a very long time, so we're pretty used to it at this point. I think the main thing that it's added is it requires a lot of adaptation for the second portion of banning and picks, but otherwise, you know, I mean, in terms of strategizing, you still got to be on point.
Do you feel like with your Jace pick today, that was obviously a priority for you guys getting in that first phase? How do you feel it's going to match up against the Poppy?
I mean, this pick has been played into Poppy and various tanks in a lot of regions, and generally Jace is expected to get a good lead, and Flair's being our strongest player, you know, we expect him to carry the game from a strong position.
All right, so you're feeling confident, like you got everything you wanted from that draft?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I don't think our draft has particularly many holes. And we've played against similar comps to what AV's got many times, so the boys know what to do.
Excellent stuff. All right, well, thanks for chatting to us, and I'll throw it back to you guys at the desk.
Of course, that is Sin's coach, Bensel there. I like his comp. Something to point out is invisibility plus Orianna ult has always been popular worldwide. Fish has a good submarine technique there. And he's right. This is a poke comp. This is a poke comp with 2 poking champions, 3 supportive, you know, the ability to pick. This is definitely something that's been seen worldwide.
It certainly has been. We'll have to see how Sin are able to utilize that one. And in fact, we're going to be kicking off this match by checking in with the bottom lane. Blinky and Jake are going to be taking on FBI and Rogue. Neither AD carrier support were helping out their jungler with a leash, but both of them starting on the bottom side of the map, so both will be taking blue buff and red buff.
A little bit of nerves out of series there. He's cancelled 3 auto attacks out of a brush. Didn't get his shield and just been punched in the face for it. That one hurts.
And already Flair's trying to abuse him up in that top lane by using that range to zone him out. In the mid lane, Wizard taking quite a bit of damage here from Triple, as he's not using the annoying skin here, Spawn.
He's not. Look, he's got the good skin. He's actually gone for quite a safe start as well. He's gone blue with a smite over to the top side of his jungle, so no cheeky 3 buffs going to be coming through right now. And it'll be interesting to continue to track the jungle path that does come out of the Ivan, because as we keep going back to, he's a unique fella.
As meanwhile, we go back into the bottom lane. Already you can see FBI and Rogue doing a good job of pushing in Blinky and Jake. We'll have to see how much they're able to capitalize on their laning advantage with this Jhin as well as Lulu. Flair's doing the same thing in the top lane. Sirius just trying to farm wherever he possibly can. He's got a lot of time just to farm up with 2 of his lanes pushing right now.
And honestly, by 10 minutes, you expect the Jace to be on 100 CS mark, and you expect the Poppy to be around 70. I mean, if series falls down 30 CS, I count that a win. If he's able to get a good, you know, 1,200 gold back, or...
Jules is looking for Shelby, does jump on top of him and gets the isolation damage down. Shelby will pop his shield, but now Triple collapsing on top of the Kha'Zix just takes away a couple of the Raptors from Juve, so doesn't allow him to steal some
But
of
he's still
Chelby's
going.
jungle.
I mean, he's looking for the red buff again. You can see him stalking him through the jungle, going to be able to pick up that one. So he's falling behind. Rogue, meanwhile, in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, taking quite a bit of damage from Blinky as well as Jake. He'll just scuttle around towards the tri-brush and get back to safety.
And this is the problem with Ivan. I mean, we had a look at it. We thought that Juves was going to be able to catch him out, but because he doesn't get a camp and Ivan had prepped 4, he hits a quicker level 4, gets a recall off, and he's 10 CS up at the moment, Fish. I mean, that's absolutely ludicrous for a guy that looks like he was going to be invaded upon.
Certainly does. I mean, Chelby has had a good start so far. Juice was looking to try and get something done, but he couldn't.
Yeah, and while we're looking at this bottom lane, important to note that FBI has gone with the longsword and 3 potions. We've seen this a lot in Europe especially. They like the extra sustain in lane when it's going to be heavy trading versus someone like a Malzahar. So good adaptation out of FBI. He's a great young player. Been excited for him to be in the scene for a long time now. Let's see if he can make it work, although now he's caught.
Yeah, he's being flashed on here by Chelby. He has to try and flash away. Lots of damage going down towards this Jhin. Has to pop the heal. Exhaust was being used by Rogue as well. Now they're trying to turn this one around because Juve's in here. Flashes in. Gets some good damage down. Flares has teleported down to the bot lane. He knocks
Oh, he's in
Jake back.
trouble.
But there's so many Void
Oh my
Links.
God.
Jake, he's going to pick up first blood. The Void Link swarms enough. Meanwhile, the River Wizard's done it again as he rotates down to the bottom lane to get 2 kills for Sin.
But that is so many summoner spells burnt on the side of Sin Gaming for only 2 kills versus a first blood. They left top lane. All of a sudden, no teleport, no flash. Series is going to get an advantage. And mid lane, Triple was able to push in as well. So that's a big overextension. I mean, when you look at this, AV, they really wanted the first blood. Chelby's going aggressive. That's what he's known for. But to commit all 5 members and still not be able to clean up the kill right here. Great body block, great exhaust out of Jake. They don't prioritize him, flashes and picks up first blood for his team. That is crucial when the game is like a game of centimeters at the moment.
It certainly is. And one thing we weren't able to touch on is the fact that Flares was trying to zone out Series. He's lost a lot of that huge wave that was built up by the Poppy. He's now down in CS, and he only just hit level 5, while Series has been 5 for quite some time now.
And the other thing is that Series got a free back, and you have to count free backs in top lane. You know, when a jungler can relieve pressure, when you don't have to burn the teleport. Flares, he's got nothing for free right now. His lane's pushing back in. He has no summoner spells as we're going again.
They're looking to try and lock down Wizard. Takes a bit of damage from Jake, but Chelby was not able to lock him down with that snare.
Ooh, and we're seeing another greedy build. I like this out of our support players. Upgrade plus boots is enough for a Sightstone. However, they're sitting on the yellow trinket, they're upgrading their support item, and they're getting some boots to be able to roam around early because they know that at the end of the day, tier plus Cull, I mean, that Varus can free farm by himself in a 2v1 lane.
It's actually surprising to see Varus is going to be picking up the tier. We've seen quite a few different builds coming out from Varus's.
I like this against non-tank lineups because it means his poke is still meaningful. He can actually go for things like the Knight, what is it called? Blade of the Night, Edge of the Night?
Edge of the Night.
Edge of the Night, sounds good to me. Yomu's Ghostblade, and the penetration is actually going to be meaningful because they're not going to pick up a lot of armor on the Sin Gaming lineup.
Yep.
Against tanks, I still do prefer either going for the Essence Reaver standard AD carry build or into something like a Blade of the Ruin King.
We'll have to keep track and see what Blink decides to pick up later on.
This is the 3rd time he's played Varus, though, and the 3rd different build we've seen. So he obviously likes the kit and is willing to, you know, change it up, make sure he's a little bit exciting every game.
We did give him a lot of credit for switching up the build mid-series last time around, so we're interested to see how he's going to continue adapting in this bottom lane. He is synergizing very well with Jake. Unfortunately, just sitting on a tier in a column, his then laning phase isn't going to be quite as strong as the serrated Dirk that was picked up by FBI. So we have to see if FBI and Rogue can continue to abuse him down in the bottom lane. As Chelby, he's hit level 6, does have Daisy to high 5 if he gets in trouble in the jungle now.
And I think it was Carbon that said, you know, Daisy's almost as strong as Ivan as far as champions go. With that repetitive knock-up, with the ability to get the shield on there for the repetitive slows. And you can see that Chelby, he's been pretty active this early game. He wouldn't have liked his last week's performance. He's a really proud guy, Chelby. A great player, been in the scene for a very long time. And I like the fact that he's bounced back so well.
He certainly has. He's able to go toe-to-toe against Juve so far. He was spoken very highly of by Jake. And speaking of Jake, taking quite a bit of damage, FBI has that crit shot ready, just threatening. But just couldn't quite get in range to throw that one down.
It is a little bit alarming, however, that even with the roam early, Triple hasn't been able to build a CS advantage. I mean, sure, Wizard was able to get a kill off it, but he should have missed a minion wave, and that should have allowed, you know, an experienced lead, the push to be in Triple's favor. However, he is still down about 10 CS as well as a kill, so that's a meaningful advantage out of Sin. And if their young mid laner can continue to play well, opens up a whole new world of win conditions.
It certainly does, especially when we're used to seeing Wizard fall behind in CS early, pick up kills in the river instead, but really get outclassed by the mid lane. It's in the lane itself. Good to see that he is adapting here, you know, picking up nice amount of CS here. Gonna have to see if he can have that huge impact that we normally see Wizard contribute during the mid game and late games on this Orianna.
And it's only going to get better. I mean, he's already been a good late game team fighter. If you're doing that from an equal footing, it just sets you up in even better stead for how the games are going to go. And, you know, credit to Sin's organization and coaching staff, because they really have started to mold this young man. And hopefully we continue to see his growth over the split.
Looking at the other side of the rift, though, Triple does have the package. Was looking towards bottom lane with Chelby, but it is going to expire, so use this just to get back to the mid lane and continue farming up against Wizard.
I mean, they did the right thing. The Sin bottom lane, it's already pushing into them. There's no reason to overextend for a creep wave right now. You know the play that's going to come out when your mid laner back, so they just wait for it. You can see that Juve still choosing to farm the bottom side of his jungle. Doesn't want to overcommit anywhere. And Shelby's doing the same, kind of stalking him out right now.
He's got some good wards placed down here, Shelby, so he's able to spot out Juves. Throws down the brush as well, just to spot out the Kha'Zix leaping over the wall.
They ping each other out. I mean, right now, Shelby knows that Juves either has to look for a gank or a recall. When you go down to the bottom side of the map, it is very far away. So you see that Blinky and Jake do the right thing.
On the top side of the map, though, Flares is going toe-to-toe against Series. Series actually fancies a fight here. Gets some good damage down. Pops the ultimate for a little bit of damage and crowd control as well.
As I said, as soon as you get those Ninja Tabby, it's actually a winning lane for Poppy at the moment. Continue applying the grass.
Doing a lot of damage, and Chelby's coming up as well. Flares in a lot of trouble, has to flash out, but Series flashes on top of him and picks up a kill in the top lane.
And we're expecting Flares to be able to carry these games, but Series, the young man, steps up. He gets himself the favorable advantage. You have to say that Flares was helping the rest of the team early, and he's just allowed this Poppy to get too tanky, and he can't really deal with him without a last Whisper, without the Black Cleaver. Great trade out of Series, good support out of Shelby.
He might even force Flares to use his teleport to get back into that top lane. You can already see the River Wizard as well as Juves trying to get on top as fast as they can. Daisy tanking up the turret, allowing Shelby and Series to get some damage down. But here he comes, the Orianna's josting up. We're actually not looking at him just yet. He will get snared down. Juves trying to flash on forward. Wizard can't quite get the range off. And that's ghost burnt by the Orianna.
And just look how annoying Daisy was in the background. Whilst they're chasing, you know, great micro out of Shelby, ensuring that Daisy stays on the target, getting knock-up after knock-up. That's another summoner spell burnt by Wizard to go to the top lane and triple. He just continues to stay at home in that mid lane, trying to chip down the turret. So AV confident against the playstyle of Sin so far, you have to say, in a pretty neutral early game.
That's exactly what we heard from them earlier. They're very confident going into this game. They know how Sin are going to play. We did hear Sin saying almost the same thing from Bensel, their coach, right as the game started. They know exactly what Avant Garde are going to do. They've played into similar team comps before. And the game is still dead even between these two teams. Two kills apiece, about 17,000 gold each.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And I mean, the impressive thing so far is that AV have pretty much kept composure the whole game. I mean, they're the ones that are forcing the move. They got collapsed on bottom lane after an aggressive gank out of Shelby. But for the rest of the game, you have to say that they're playing on the front foot. And after you get decimated in week one, that's impressive to be able to do. Continue to have that confidence to go forward.
Certainly is. Meanwhile, though, Sin looking for a fight in the bottom lane. Blinky trying to get away from the ultimate from FBI. Will lock down Juves as well. Waits for the time to expire. Juves now getting locked down by Jay. Has to get the wild growth come out from Lulu. Shelby's down here as well. Juves forced to flash away as Sin are now the ones on retreat. Rogue almost goes down from an arrow to the knee. But Avant Garde defend against the gank.
Yeah, one more time. Just a great read out of the jungler. Juves is there first, but Shelby is right behind him, ready to counter gank, and they force them back out of lane. This is really impressive out of AV. I like the comp they've put together. They shouldn't necessarily win lanes. However, they are up across the board right now.
They certainly are. Still very even between these two teams. Good to see both of them are adapting and reacting to their opponents evenly, as Triple will go and pick up blue buff for himself.
And now you have to look at win conditions. I mean, when you have a look at Sin, they have a great 1-4. Players in trouble again.
A little bit of damage here. Fancies a fight against Series still. Will not be able to deny him the shield. That might be devastating as Series is still charging on forward. Throws down the hammer. Picks up a solo kill against Flares in the top lane.
And the young local absolutely dunks the North American import. I mean, That is huge out of series, a confidence booster for the whole team, and he is well and truly established control in this lane.
Everyone's hyped up Flares, saying he's going to be the carry for Sin. He's going to be the new Rymeister for Juves. But Series, he's snuck under the radar here, Spawn, putting up some great performances.
And you know, maybe he's the new paradise for Avant Garde because he has been able to pick up a carry. He gets the first turret bonus gold right there for himself. And this game starting to look like Poppy just might take over.
We'll have to see what Series can do later on in this match. We saw him have a good performance against Tally when he picked up Fiora against his Gangplank. So we get a couple of solo kills here and there as well, even a 2-on-1 in some cases. Let's see what he can do now on an incredibly fed Poppy. Triple now, looking for a play in the bottom lane.
And he's massive. I mean, completed boots as well as that Sunfire Cape ready for him. And that just means that, you know, he's going to ignore the Kha'Zix, he's going to ignore the Jace, he's definitely going to ignore Jhin. Jhin doesn't want to put any of the 4 bullets into him. And that just so much pressure in the mid game now, especially with the Mountain Drake, especially with the poke comp that is going to come online for Avant Garde at 1.5, 2-ish items.
Again, we see Triple trying to be as patient as possible with his package, but great wards coming out from Sin, able to spot out Avant Garde, looking to make that play in the bottom lane.
But what's the response? I mean, back away. They don't have teleport available. They can maybe look to trade turrets, but they might give up Dragon at the same time. And they just push so quickly right now. I mean, you heard it out of Bensel. Their game plan was 1-4, open up the doors for Flares to be able to do this. Carry through the top lane, continue to take down turrets. Instead, what they're up against is a very fed front line in a poke composition that's just going to be able to answer the 1-4 and then also teamfight more successfully.
So Sin now trying to react by taking down the mid lane out to turret. Only Triple here to defend that. If this move goes through, they'll be able to take it down. Triple forced to flash away as Wizard catches him by surprise with that shockwave. They trade 1-for-1 in turrets and take one down in the top lane too.
Yeah, and just as we're singing their praises, I mean, horrible map positioning out of Avant Garde means that Sin get the good inside track, able to pick up double objective for 1, and it doesn't look like they're done. They still want the mid lane.
Triple's in trouble here, gets tagged by the Kerner Call, tries to go toe-to-toe against Wizard, but he'll get taken down. Now Sin, they've got their eyes set towards the Dragon.
And a pick comes through. It means that Dragon has to be stopped out of AV. You can see that the brushes were there. They were trying to start it up, but Sin hit back really impressive. I mean, it's 2-2 turrets right now, but they're right in there with the gold. And with a Poppy this fed around the map, that shouldn't happen.
Let's see how Avant Garde are going to be able to strike back here with Sin. They're holding on nice and easy here, making sure that Avant Garde can't just bleed them out from that single advantage they've got in the top lane. Reacting quite well to what Avant Garde have been throwing at them, who are still in the driver's seat at the moment.
Yeah, they should be in the driver's seat, but everything we just saw showed that Sin is the team with initiative right now. Interested to see whether they set up with their teleport now that Flares has it available. You know, we haven't even seen a glimpse at Rift Herald or anything like that from either team. In 1-4 comps, it can be useful, although it's a big time investment. And AV should have just been looking to set up around structures, you know, poke them off, but Sin had the complete read on the play.
Well, for now we can check in with the items that have been picked up across the board here. Already in the mid lane, Triple's picked up his Trinity Force as well as the Sork Boots. Redemption is done for Chelby, and Blinky's gone for the Yomu's Ghostblade after his tier. It's a little bit more armor penetration coming out from him.
Yeah, exactly right. You expect the lethality build to come out of the Varus as soon as you see the tiers. Meanwhile,
Series going toe-to-toe against Flares once again. He's got red buff on this Poppy. The Jace has to be incredibly careful.
Yeah, and it just means that you have to respect the regen more than anything, because in continual trades, I mean, Jace is eventually going to fall down.
Again, Series jumping straight back on top of him, getting some good damage down. Shelby's on top, gonna throw down the root. Juves looking to see if he can turn this one now, but Flares is gonna fall to the Ivan, who throws out an auto attack from the brush. Now Kha'Zix coming in there. Redemption comes out to heal up the team. Wizards trying to get in amongst it. The Lulu ultimate's gonna come out, but Juves has got to flash away. Jake was looking for the lockdown, but they do get over the wall just in time.
Yeah, exactly right. So they collapse around their top laner this time around Sin, but they're just a fraction too late. Good read out of Chelby to get up there in time, and now the poke comp in the mid lane should be able to start chipping away at these structures.
Let's see if Avant Garde are able to take this one down. They've got Daisy there to tank up the turret for some time. Ultimate going to come out from Blinky. Whiffs doesn't connect with anyone, but FBI's been locked down and taken down by Jake. Teleports are coming in to the mid lane. The turret is still relatively healthy, and they will be able to get there in time.
But how do you resist this? I mean, without engage out of Juice, who doesn't have his flash available, they're just going to be able to sit here and chip down. Actually, it's AV that run away. Blinky was incredibly low. They still had a full health Triple. I think they maybe could have pushed their luck a little bit more there.
For now, there will be Chelby who picks up blue buff for himself and gives one over towards triple on top of that. Sin are able to defend their turret, but they do lose their AD carry in that trade.
Ooh, early Sheen pickup. Really interesting out of series. This is what we see when you want to answer a split push. I still expect it to be an Iceborne Gauntlet. That would be absolutely bonkers if it was a Trinity Force. However, that means that he should have even further ease taking care of flares, you know? We're not seeing the Courage of Colossus. We are seeing the... I can't even remember. Grasp of the Undying picked up. And now moving towards Dragon against the flow one more time. Sin with just a better map rate.
Sin able to take this one down because Ivan is waiting in the wings, but no one else from their side of Avant Garde are close by to defend this, and Juice will pick up the first dragon of the game for Sin. It's going to be a mountain dragon.
I mean, a mountain dragon, especially when you're running things like Jace and Jhin, they have legitimate poke within their own comp. They can set up around structures. Hard to engage on this lineup because of the Orianna as well as the Lulu. So if Sin can continue to weather this storm, should mean good things for them.
Again, we have triple with the package, but just seems like he's got no play to make with it at the moment.
And they need to move up. I mean, you can't allow... It's really rough, right? But you can't allow an Orianna to do this, to just instantly clear the wave in the mid lane. When you've got 3 people waiting to meet it, you really do need to set up around that objective and be able to pick it up. Because Wizard, so far, farming with ease. I mean, he has fallen slightly behind now, about 10 CS, but nothing that we would expect out of a mid laner of the caliber of Triple.
You're going to see Orianna pick up blue buff as well, making her time much easier to clear out these waves. Flares is here as well, trying to poke out AV anytime they get close. Daisy's been high-fived here by Chelby. Going to tank up the turret a little bit for them.
But none of the poke is hitting on the side of AV right now. Series is still looking to push a side lane.
Let's see what he can do here. That turret's going to take quite a bit of damage. Flares is forced to go up to the top lane. Does not have his teleport available, while Series does, and Flares is out of mana as well. Avant Garde might be able to use a pivot on that.
But do they look for another dive? I mean, it looks like the wave clear well and truly has arrived for Sin. Potentially looking to go on this wave.
They've got Series right behind him. He's spotted up by a ward. Sin knows he's right there. He's looking to charge in. Juice has to go invisible. He's going to take quite a bit of damage. Redemption's going to come down. Shockwave gets flashed away by Series. Heals up to just about full health, but Avant Garde do take down the turret.
Blinky, please stand behind your top laner. That's a little bit too close for comfort. Fourth shot does hit. They will be able to move away and clean up some farm, but once again, I think that Sin held that for a fairly long time, and being able to get the flash out of the top laner means that no surprise engage is going to be coming on the horizon. I nearly count that as a win if I'm Sin, honestly. That should have been much easier for AV.
However, Avant Garde, they are about 4,000 gold up ahead of Sin at the moment, which is a nice lead to have 20 minutes into the game. 3 turrets to 2.
Certainly is. It's really important to point out the fact that Orianna is really starting to get going, however, and going for death cap second. So he's going to well and truly have a mid-game spike. Whereas it really is around Series at the moment. Series holds the majority of the gold.
Goodbye, Wizard.
See you, Wizard. So that helps, getting a pick like that. Really nice ward set up from Avant, just leading to that. It looks like he was flashed upon from Jake from the brush. You can see double pink wards, well, control wards, I guess, set up around mid lane.
No Quicksilver sashes picked up by anyone on the side of Sin just yet.
Oh, he felt on him.
Going toe-to-toe. Triple decides to W for damage here, forcing Flares to flash, throws out the rocket, gonna be able to pick up a kill, but Juice, he's hunting, he wants to take down Triple, does get the slowdown. Ivan's coming in, will lock him down. They've only traded 1-for-1 for now. Juice looking to try and turn this one, but Daisy's pummeling in on towards the jungler. Will be able to get that knocker, but Chelby's the one on retreat as FBI is looking to inspect Chelby with the flash, throws out the bouncing grenade, gets that final crit shot, and they trade 2-for-1.
And a big miscommunication there. I mean, 2 members are just in mid lane, chipping away at that turret. Another member top lane. Why is Shelby flashing into the jungle trying to save Triple? That's just a little bit confusing, if you ask me. However, they do come out massively ahead still, as Sin looking to push their luck.
Juice flashes forward, gets the slowdown towards Blinky, goes back in, gets the wild growth. He's constantly slowing down Jake. He's trying to run for his life, but it's FBI with the double kill.
And the play is there for Sin. All of a sudden, 5 members set up looking for a Baron that Series really can't look to contest.
Let's see what he can do. Knocks one away.
Oh.
He might be able to do just that. Redemption comes out from Ivan and knocks them back.
Juves is too low. I mean, when they had a look at it, Juves was the one tanking. As soon as Flares was knocked out of the pit, they couldn't take that up themselves. So nice heads-up play out of the top laner for Avant, maybe saving them again. That was aggressive for a couple of turrets, Fish, I think it's fair to say. However, it doesn't bite them too hard.
Yeah, they're still just about 4,000. Actually, further ahead than when we last time checked him. They're about 4,500 gold in the lead here for Avant Garde.
So they threw away 3 kills, I think, in the end. No, actually more, 4 kills for a couple of turrets. So, you know, that's a pretty even trade, depending on the assists. I mean, Flares isn't worth much anymore. He's 0-5. And it just looks like the game continues to kind of deteriorate away from Sin. They're being pushed in the tempo a little bit, and AV is back to their patented, you know, let's make aggressive plays play style. Even if it means flashing in to try and save one member, let's see if we can get it going.
And Avant Garde have been picking up quite a few items here. You can see Series building towards this next tank item. The Spectre's Carl has been picked up. Fiend's Unholy Grail has been completed for Chelby as well on this Ivan. Infinity Edge is being looked at by Triple here, so lots of damage will be coming up from that Corki.
Yeah, it certainly is going for a damage-based build. I mean, majority of the gold, as we take a look at it, must be held by Series right now, up in the top lane. Oh, Shelby caught a little bit.
Taking a lot of damage. Shockwave comes out from Wizard and FBI. He's going to go on a rampage with that final shot.
Yeah, 4-1 and 3 for FBI, so he's starting to accrue some bank, and they've started up the Baron one more time. Flares, no teleport. Series has it available, and the poke is unrelenting.
Here comes the teleport from Series, looking to collapse on top of Sin. They backed off away from the Baron, but they still want to fight. Poke coming out from Blinky. The ultimate's going to come out from FBI, looking to slow him down. Series gets in front of his AD carry, will be able to protect him, and Sin might have to back off here.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that's the case, because the poke is just so strong, and Series is able to one-man frontline still. Good pick. Maybe not into the right objective. Maybe should have been looking to establish a little bit more control before they funneled in towards that. They do get the teleport. Looks like they might be able to get a dragon through FBI, but do lose control of the Baron area one more time.
He is starting that one up with Juice, so Sin might be able to take their second drag of the game. Flares, tags, Blinky on the backside there.
But now the race is on. I mean, they actually want to pull the trigger on this Baron. They know 2 members were on the bottom. Shelby can just hop the wall, and Daisy's up.
Here he comes. The high five comes through, but look at Blinky's health. He's going to have to get healed up here if he wants to stay alive. Good Redemption's going to come out. Another one coming on top of Avant Garde here. But Wizard's been locked out. He has to get the Wild Growth to get out. Knocked up by Series. Slammed into the wall. Blinky will pick up that kill. Rogue's gone down as well. And suddenly Skin, they've got to scatter to the wind because everyone's getting decimated by Avant Garde.
And you can see that Jake just has complete control of his team right now. He makes the call. Might die to the Baron. Needs to get healed. Really nicely done there out of Blinky. Got his supports back. But that was just such a decisive play out of this Avant lineup as now Triple goes in.
Goes toe-to-toe. He's going to be able to out-duel Juice there. He says, what? Abyss Light? No way. He's going to be able to take him down.
So a brave call, let's call it that, as he goes over the wall, challenges him to the 1v1, does come up the victor, and that means a clean Baron going to be picked up for Avant Garde right now.
And Avant Garde just further increased their lead here against Sin. 8,000 gold up. They've got the Baron buff, and it's just 26 minutes into this game spawn.
Let's have another look at this. Double Redemption just does so much heal on the backline. The poke means nothing. And then Jake just flashes forward, cleans up Wizard, who then gets ultied as well as wallbanged. Absolutely nothing he can do there. I mean, the rest of it is just really clean up duty. Without that big team fighting ultimate, there is nothing Sim can do.
And just like that, Avant Garde looking to try and close out this game. Sin have been fighting back strong, but they've just lost advantage after advantage. They can't quite seem to punish Avant Garde.
Yeah, and it looks like right now, like just if you take a big step back, Sin is executing on map plays really nicely. I mean, their calls around the map have been pretty good. However, when it comes to these really scrappy fights, Avant Garde is just excelling. And we expect that out of this team. I mean, Shelby is that kind of player down to a T. He's brought in Triple. You know, Blinky actually is fitting into this lineup so well at the moment. And the real surprising thing to me is this game, their supporting cast in Series and Jake have been so good around Summoner's Rift when it comes to these team fights.
Certainly have. We even saw Shelby, you know, he picked up Redemption. Normally we'd see Malzahar's go towards more damage items. He got an early Redemption as well.
I'm telling you, that item, woo, straight up busted against poke.
Shelby's got the Athene's and Holy Grail. We saw that have a massive impact on the heal that he gave towards Triple when he got that shield. Towards Blinky. They've been able to keep Blinky alive in the majority of these fights, making sure he can continually output the damage that Avant Garde needs.
And this guy's starting to really hurt. I mean, Varus has always been such a good scaling AD carry. I'd love to check out the damage as the game progresses. And now, setting up the siege, this time with Baron and a whole heck of brushes.
There's so much poke going down towards Sin. The Redemptions are going to come out looking to heal them back up. Daisy is going to be tanking up the turret for some time. Gets called back here by Ivan. Triple taking the brunt of the poke that comes back from Sin. It's a game of poke here, Spawn, but Avant, they've got the brush control.
And we see that Triple might actually need a redemption of his own. There it is.
Oh, no,
He jumped out.
Don't go out of the redemption, Triple. You need that for your health, buddy. But it's still looking to push on towards this one. The Curticol's going to come out, looking to try and snipe out Triple. Blinky's going to get tagged as well, but he stays right behind his entire team. They're lining up here, Spawn, making sure that final shot doesn't go through. Shelby will take that one up. The redemption's going to go down again. Finally, Triple knows what's to do, and will be able to take down the bottom lane turret.
Yeah, so it looks like they finally are able to line up correctly. Single file behind the Poppy, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get you into the building as quickly as possible. And you can see that the poke damage is just so much easily shrugged off when you have the shields that are coming out of Shelby, when you have such a huge frontline tank. And on the other end, I mean, they can't really ignore Triple and Blinky right now.
FBI taking so much damage from the big one rocket that just came out. Series underneath the turret, Shockwave comes through, whips, hits absolutely nobody, and Sinner just getting poked out one by one. Avant chip away at this turret, that will fall as well, and they're onto the base here, Spawn.
They do need to be a little bit careful because Blinky just had to pop heal. There is no Shockwave. They will get the inhibitor and should just back away.
Nice, slow, clean and methodical from Avant. After we saw a lot of aggressive playstyle there, they still take down an inhibitor.
About as clean as my room at the moment. I mean, and when I mean that, not very. But, you know, the idea and the execution was there. They did have to burn a summoner spell that they probably didn't need to, but you can see that this is a team that, after a very disappointing week 1, has shown up in week 2 to play pretty hard.
They certainly have, and this is just game 1 here against Sin. Sin, they are a force to be reckoned with. They did get a win last week. It was a 2-1 over Abyss. They are very confident coming into this best-of-3 series as well, but now it's Avant. They're in the driver's seat. They have been for most of this game.
Yeah, and let's talk about that win versus Abyss, because that could have easily been a 2-0 for Sin, but it just probably could have been quite as easily a 2-0 for Abyss. I mean, Frey really did get outperformed after having a great game 1, and they targeted him heavily. And you could tell that that was just an Abyss lineup that may be a little bit too new with each other to be able to pull together after such a heavy mid lane focus. I think there was something like 7 bans towards the mid lane. Yep. Absolutely ridiculous. So, you know, you've got to give credit for Sin for digging deep and picking up that win. But that was really on a knife's edge this series. And Avant showing that they're arguably a better lineup right now. We haven't seen them play Abyss, but they do look like they've come together nicely at this stage.
Avant now looking to try and set up towards the Dragon Pit, taking down the Scuttle Crab. That will be spawning in 25 seconds.
This is the annoying Corki build, by the way, because he has the rapid fire cannon, which gives him so much extended range, and he shoots out a rocket and doesn't even hit you. Then he like shoots you in the head with the rapid fire cannon, and you're like, where the heck did my health go? Like, he does magic damage, he does physical damage with those auto attacks. It's one of those builds that if he gets the crit right with the Sheen proc, it really does hurt your fish. You wonder where the damage is coming from.
Well, let's see if Triple can output even more damage in these next few fights. The third dragon of the game is going to spawn. But this time round, it's Avant that are looking to take that one down. No one from the side of Sin here to try and contest that first dragon for Avant.
And Sensor has been picked up, if you don't mind, by Shelby right now. He's a full support. Give that man exhaust and send him to the bottom lane for game 2. I mean, he's not building anything remotely carry at the moment.
They're all making sure that they can keep Blinking alive because he's been outputting quite a tremendous amount of damage so far. And Triple as well on this Corki. Assisting with the poke that Avant have been constantly throwing out towards Sin.
And I like this. They're cleared out the Baron area. They're taking control of topside jungle. They're allowing the bottom lane to push in. Then presumably they're going to get a nice shop in and set up for this Baron one more time. It's a minute away. That means that bottom lane should be able to push up. I mean, Flares has teleport, so we can at least answer it for now. But there is absolutely no way that Sin know what is going on that top side of the map.
And it's a minute until that Baron buff is going to be back up. We'll have to see if Avant look to pincer that
Look at this.
position on the map.
Triple control ward, a control ward in the tri-brush, up in top lane. There is no way a flank is going to come through. And as long as they hold this line, they can guarantee that Sin is walking into Fog of War. It means they can either rush it down, they can set up a pick. Face-checking Varus has always been one of those things you don't want to do because his ult, whilst easy to miss, is such a high impact ability. This could be the game on the line right now, and finally, AV's macro looks to have been cleaned up incredibly well.
They've got 5 control wards on the map, 3 in the inventory. If you count Janky's extra one, that's 4, and 2 Trinket blue wards ready and available for Triple and Blinky. Avant looking to try and slowly take out
And
Sin
they've just
here.
picked up a package, it looks like it right now. Triple streaming out of the base with that one. So this really is pick central. They're continually using those brushes to sweep, and my god, Juves, you do not want to be there.
He's already taken quite a bit of damage. Jakey looking to see if he can lock him down. Triple, like you mentioned, already has that package. Series though, he's in the base spawn.
Well, if they left the back door open, Fish, I may as well walk in there, he says. And looking to see if he can get a little bit of chip damage.
And it forces Flares to recall to try and deal with this immense Poppy, but that gives Avant Garde the all clear to high-five Daisy and say, let's start up this Baron, boys.
Teleport coming back out. Will they even get there in time? They back away.
Codacol's going to come out. Triple takes the brunt of the damage, does get shielded up by Shelby. The final shot's not going to
Poppy's
connect.
in there.
There goes Series, looking to lock them down. 3-man knocker coming out for this Poppy. Still has a GA, he's not afraid. Blinky's already in the back lines. Rogue is the first target. Shelby's going to lock down FBI and delivers the Poppy hammer into the team. Now Sin are trying to run away from everybody. They already lost 2 members, Spawn.
Yeah, they certainly have. I mean, when you have a look at the back end of that, 1 for 1, 1 for 2 in the end, that's pretty all right. But honestly, with the rest of the members still being incredibly healthy and not being able to kill the Poppy, it just means they're going to be able to march through the front door this time and take down a couple more turrets.
And they've already lost so much health from their first Nexus turret. Trying to defend against this one. Jakey's gone forward. There goes Wizard. He's locked down. Going to get locked down here by the Poppy, who just throws out the buckler once again. Triple wants to take down Juice one more time, but he's going to flash away. Flares has to get underneath his turret, but it's going to be Avant Garde chasing towards the Nexus.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, one turret is going to fall down. The second shortly to follow.
As Triple once again just takes down Juice in the back lines. It's only Rogue and Flares left to try and defend. They're onto the inhibitors here. The Nexus turrets are still taking a beating. Avant Garde, they're going to wait this one out again.
Oh, you know, slow and steady wins the race. They don't want to win without their captain. I mean, that's just not a team sport. So, you know, waiting for Jake to respawn. Going to reset up the map. 2 inhibitors down. Nexus turret 1 shot away from death. I mean, I think they could have closed it out there, but I respect it. Play it nice and slowly. There's no point throwing it away now, guys. Let's just set up around Baron. We know they don't have their teleport available, and let's go again.
And they still got Baron to take, like you mentioned. If they set up, take that one down, it's going to be easy for Avant to push in and close out this game. They're still setting up again. Shelby's going to be trying to clear out as many wards as possible.
And what a controlled play out of Shelby. This is a guy that, you know, in the past was renowned for his Elise, renowned for his Lee Sin, such aggressive jungling. If he can go towards a more controlled, measured style and really set up Blinky, set up Triple to be these carries, you think that they have a good team fighting team ready to start evolving as the split continues.
Sin now know that this Baron buff is where Avant Garde are going to put pressure on the map. They're trying to collapse and defend that major objective. But look at the bottom lane spawn. There's so many minions crashing into the base.
I mean, that's all you're waiting for, really. Bottom lane's already in the base. They're going to be able to continue to push up there. Sin's trying to get access to the brush from mid lane so they don't have to walk through the choke point.
But Jukes is going to go in, has to pop the invisibility. Will be able to get away, but takes quite a bit of damage. Curtical comes out, doesn't deal too much to the side of Avant Garde. But the minions are all in the base spawn. Sin have to pull the trigger now if they want to get something out of this.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, even if they win a team fight right now, their base is still in shambles, and instead they back away.
They've already lost that Nexus turret. The minions are onto the Nexus here, Spawn. It's a race against time. This should give Avant Garde the free Baron.
And what a frustrating way to lose, being drawn out of your base, being continually suffocated. Minions are absolutely everywhere, and this time it's going to be 5 members of Avant with a Baron buff running into an open Nexus.
And already, everyone from Sin, they've gone back to base. They know they've got to defend that Nexus, but Avant, they've got their eyes set towards that final inhibitor. They want to suffocate Sin here and make sure there's no way for them to get back into this one.
I mean, tutorial mode right now. You have to clean up the whole base, make sure none of the inhibitors are alive, and they're very close to finishing it.
That inhibitor is going to fall down. The only thing left between Sin's defeat here is that Nexus turret. They have to make a stand sometime, Spawn. They're desperate to try and pull out Avant Garde here, but they're just making sure that they just back off every single time Sin come forward.
And you can see that this is starting to frustrate Sin because without big initiation, I mean, their comp never really had it. It's just impossible to get in there. They don't have the evolved wings. They can't take a ball to the back line. And you can see that they're just escorting, ushering in the minions. Blinky. Trying to make it interesting.
Well, there they go. Juice jumps in with that shockwave, only collects on Shelby, and it's going to be the Kha'Zix that falls first. Triple and Blinky slowly chasing down the remaining members. They don't have to kill anyone else here, Spawn, because the Nexus is going to fall, and Avant Garde pick up game 1.
Yeah, and in the end, you have to say that they did it reasonably cleanly. I mean, some shaky plays. They got teleported on a few times from flares, but being able to establish Series' Poppy in the top lane just meant that they always had the stronger front line. You can see it on Blinky's face. He knew he has the safest hands in Piedmont right now, able to catch a couple of shockwaves, but still able to pick up a W.
Yeah, as Avant, you know, slow and steady to win that race. It looked like they could have closed out the game a lot earlier there, but they made sure they made no mistakes towards the end there, not allowing Sin any chance to get back
But why
into
close
that
it
one.
up early? I mean, they're not on a clock. They can play forever. The Summoner's Rift doesn't shut down. As long as they get it done, I mean, as long as that they're confident in the play. And I like that. If ever in doubt, if you're a young team, I mean, back away. You very rarely get punished after you've taken 2 inhibitors down. And, you know, setting up for that Baron turned out to be the right call because they did close it out very cleanly.
Well, that's all from us here at the casting table. For now, let's throw it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you, Spawn. Thank you, Fish. Well, gentlemen, it looks like AV have taken that first win easy, as Jake said in the interview pre-game. I mean, how do you think that went? Rusty?
They got smacked. It's like it started off pretty well for Sin. There was moments, but at the end of the day, Poppy became Poppy. It's the one thing you don't want to happen, especially not that early into the game.
Yeah, I really want to touch on that as well. And it sort of comes down to what happened when Flares decided to teleport down to that bot lane. Nothing really happened for him. He ended up dying in that situation. That allowed Poppy to have sweet free time up in top because it was all good. Ceres cancelled his teleport. And then from that point on, everything was cool as Poppy. Poppy does Poppy things.
All right, well, let us bring up pick bands as we see them on our screen. And the first thing I want to talk about is the Jace versus Poppy, which is what Mendrix was kind of alluding to there. Rusty?
Yeah, so the way that this works is Jace is expected to have about a 30 CS advantage, to have control in the lane. And the reason that Jace works into Poppy is that you keep Poppy pressured, so she can't get around the map, can't teleport or help the team. But if she does, you take at least the turret for the troubles that she has taken to go. What has happened is the opposite in this game, and that's where the real problem came out. Because as you mentioned, Jace teleports, doesn't work out, and Poppy catches up. No advantage, no opportunity to get back in. And Series, I don't know where that came from, but he's had his wheat bix this morning, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really put the pedal to the metal. That was what's really good about it. He found his advantage, and then he immediately just put his foot on it, basically getting himself 2 solo kills off the back of that against an arguably very safe champion in lane.
All right, well, let's also talk about the Lulu pick as well, because Lulu was picked as a quote-unquote counter to Malzahar. Mendrix, have you seen a lot of this before?
So we don't really see too much of it in the league internationally, but it has been known to be picked up. I think in the in the LCS. One of the LCS.
NALCS.
There we go. And what's good about it is that Pix actually uses her auto attack, and then it's able to take out the Voilins immediately. Deals with those pesky buggers pretty quickly.
It's the same principle as why you would pick Misfortune into Zyra, and especially something we saw throughout all of Worlds is you can auto-attack the plants, do more damage. You've also got the utility with the ultimate to keep someone alive if Malzahar chooses to go in, and you've got Poke to keep his shield down. So if you've got a pokey AD carry with you, such as we saw from the Jhin, then it is a decent 2v2 lane, but pretty risky overall.
All right, well, let's take a look at our first replay. It's a bit of a jungle chase, and Mendrix, you were saying that this is something people can take away and play at home.
Yes, so this is something you can really take away in all your solo queue games. So as you can see here, Triple does a fantastic job to pick up the kill there, and then Sin decide to respond, get their kills back, and they're jumping through, everyone's throwing all their abilities out, going, yes, we're getting the kills, this is great. And well, it's fine for Avant. They decide to go, no worries, you can keep on chasing our players around the map all you want. We're going to take the mid lane. We're going to take the top lane. Objectives win the game, folks. And AV were able to really solidify their lead off the back of that.
The big thing is that everybody rotated. Juves went for the fight. He wanted to try and get the redemption kill, but if 3 people go and your lane's already being pushed, don't go. Like, just protect the turrets. They're worth gold for your whole team. The 300's not.
Sure. That's the takeaway. The takeaway is protect your turrets.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good broad point to make. Well, let's take a look at the second replay, which is the team fight into the Baron. Mendrix, you want to set up for us?
Certainly. So the reason why this is such a great decision for AV is they've got double redemption. As you can actually see it in effect here now. They can jump in there, they can throw out the Ivern and bushes, keep everything under control, and then they've got Jakey who understands he's the engage. They immediately lock down the biggest threat on the side of Sin, which is Wizard. And then from there, they're able to clean up the fight. And this is ideally sort of the hair that broke the horse's back. This is what allowed them to get into that game and just take complete control.
Yeah, the important part as well there for me is that they were playing a team composition that had 2 tanks, and they were forcing what was a poke composition from Sin to run at them. And by forcing them to come at you, your engage is infinitely easier with the Varus ulti, with the Poppy and the Malzahar that we saw from Jake.
All right, well, that is AV taking out Game 1 versus Sin. It's time for us to take a break. We'll be back with Game 2 right after this.